and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josiah, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you my 7 favorite false cuts. Now, what is a false cut? Basically, what a false cut is, it's basically a way in which the magician appears to be fairly giving the cards a mix by cutting them, as in like that, where you're shifting packets around. But in fact, the magician has actually retained the order of the cards. So I'm going to be sharing with you today what I consider to be the 7 best and easiest false cuts I know. If you are interested in learning any more false cuts, I will leave a link to a playlist I created that has a bunch of different videos about some false cuts and false shuffles down below. So I don't think I have anything more to say, so let's just get right into it. Alright, in this video I'm going to be using the Bicycle Victor's Back playing cards, the blue ones. These are a really nice vintage designed deck of playing cards, so I would definitely recommend you go check these out. Link in the description. But before we get into any of the false cut tutorials, I need to begin by teaching you how to do what's called a kick cut or a swing cut. And basically what that looks like is this. This is something that is really, as a magician, it's something you really need to know how to do and do well. So, and especially for these particular false cuts, I tend to use these a lot when doing my false cuts. And you'll find that with a lot of false cuts and a lot of situations when you're doing magic, a swing cut is a really nice thing to know how to do. So, it looks like this again, and so basically I'm going to teach you how to do it. So, basically, what you're going to do is you're going to begin by holding the cards in middle grip, which is something we talked about before on the channel, which basically means that you're going to have your thumb here at the back, and all 4 fingers are going to be here at the front, or you can put your 3 fingers here at the front of the deck and curl your index finger in like I do. Either way, you need to have your index finger free to do the work. Now, when you're first practicing this, it's going to seem really difficult. And I know when I first practiced this, I was like, come on, how is this being done? And the thing is, it's going to take a lot of practice to get this down, but once you get this down, it'll enable you to do a whole bunch of different things that are really, really cool. So, basically, you're going to reach over with your index finger, and you need to learn to pick up, basically, kind of separate about half the cards. And when you're first starting off, it's better to pick up a small packet of cards instead. But basically, just pick up a packet of cards and separate it from the deck with your index finger. At this point, you need to extend your index finger, and you need to allow that top packet to slide past these fingers outward with you, just like that. Okay, so when you're first trying this, it's gonna be hard for you to get the packet to even pick up, and even once you begin to pick up a packet, you're gonna find that you'll get stuck on your fingers like that. It's gonna take a while before you get that smooth motion of swinging over. Now, one thing I like to do oftentimes that I've noticed I do is I actually lift my middle finger right here and just basically kind of hold it with my ring finger. And sometimes I place my pinky there too. I find that when I'm doing swing cuts, it's easier for me to hold the card sort of on this side. So when I'm doing swing cuts, I tend to lift up this finger. That's the first thing I try and do sometimes. And secondly, I like to kind of not hold it so much in a traditional middle grip, but I kind of hold it more on its side where my pinky finger is kind of out to the side like that. And that allows me to get a nice clean cut just like this. And you'll find that you can actually extend your index finger. You can get this packet to extend over to the one side further if you extend your middle finger a little bit as well. But that's basically all there is to a swing cut or a kick cut. And you just have to practice this motion. And then all you're going to do is once you get it to swing over, that's the hardest part, you just have to come over with this hand and you clamp this packet right here between kind of the side of your index finger and this little fat area between your index finger and your thumb. So you kind of hold it there, you bring it over so it's clamped down, you allow it to fall into a traditional or regular mechanics grip, which looks like that. And then you bring this packet over and just drop it on top. And that is all there is to a swing or kick cut. So once again, you pick up a packet, swing it over, clamp it down, bring it into a mechanics grip like that, and drop. And that's all there is to doing a swing cut. And in motion, it looks like this. So it's a very nice looking way to handle the cards. And it really allows you to do a whole bunch of stuff when you get to more of the false cuts. So, for the first false cut, this is what it looks like. We obviously have an ordered deck of cards here, just like so. And we will begin by giving the cards just a quick little cut. And just like that, although it looks like I have fairly cut the cards, in fact, they are still in a perfect order. Alright, so basically, the way this false cut works is that we are basically just doing a Hindu shuffle motion, which I've taught here on the channel before, and I'll leave a link to that video where I talked about that in the description box down below. But basically, all you're doing is you're going to hold the deck right here with your thumb on one side, these two fingers holding on the other lengthwise side, and your index finger is going to kind of curl on top a little bit, or just kind of, not really curl, but kind of hover above, just like that. Basically, you're going to come over with your other hand, and you're going to use your thumb and middle finger on either lengthwise side to peel off a top chunk of cards and drop it into your hand, just like that. And that is the Hindu shuffle action. All we're going to do is we're going to do that same action, except for we're only going to do it once. So we're going to peel off about half the cards using the Hindu shuffle action. We take the packet in, we take the bottom packet of cards and we drop it on the table, and we take the top packet and drop it there like that. And obviously if you do it like that, no one's really going to be fooled by that false cut. But if you add a little bit of a spin to it, say before you set this top packet back down, if you rotate it, that really adds a lot to the cut. So if you do something like this, you kind of rotate the packet around and then set it here, it really gives a lot to this cut. And really the idea is that the motion will cover the action that you are actually doing. Alright, our second false cut looks like this. Again, order a deck of cards. And basically the second false cut is just as simple, except it uses a swing cut instead. So basically it looks like this. We cut the cards very fairly, just like that. But again, the cards have retained their order. So again, it looks like this. If I take the top card and turn it over, you'll see just like that. Again. And when you turn the top card face up, it's not so fooling. But anyway, here is the tutorial. Alright, here's how that second false cut is done. So, again, it looks like this, and the cards, of course, retain their order. So, basically, the way that this is done is you're going to begin by swing cutting the packet, just like this. But instead of finishing your swing cut by dropping a packet on top, you're going to then tilt the packet in your left hand, or your right hand. If you're left-handed, you'll mirror me. And basically you just turn it to the side. You take the packet that is the bottom packet, and you're going to tap it. So I know that might be kind of confusing the way I just described it, so I'll describe it a little bit differently. You swing cut the top packet into your left hand, and keep in mind, again, if you are left-handed, you need to mirror everything I'm doing with your opposite hands as the ones I'm using. So once you've swing cut it into this hand, you then turn the top packet so that it's kind of angled to the side like this, okay? And I'll kind of keep it hopefully kind of more in frame so you can see it better. And then of course you're going to bring the bottom packet over, and you're going to tap the side of the bottom packet against the back of the top packet. And it makes a tapping sound, just like this, when it comes into this T shape. So you tap it once, then you drop the bottom packet on the table, you take the left-hand packet, the top packet, and you drop it back on top like that. And that is literally all there is to the hit false cut. So it's a very simple one to do. You just swing cut, tap, drop. And that is literally all there is to that particular false cut. Alright, the next false cut we're going to learn is the first false cut I ever learned personally, and that is the false table cut. And basically it looks like this. You give the cards a couple of cuts just like this, but again, order retained. And that is basically all this is. It's the false table cut, and it just looks like that, and the cards retain their order. So anyway, let's just learn it. Alright, this is the tutorial for the false table cut. So again, it looks like this, and basically the way this one is done is just as follows. You're going to begin by swing cutting about a third of the cards into your left hand, again, mirroring if you're left-handed. So it's in your left hand, you swing cut another third into your left hand, but this time when you swing cut it, you want to stick your pinky here so you can keep a pinky break between the two packets. So just like that, okay? So you keep your pinky break, and then you're going to take the packet, the final packet, and you're not going to place it in this hand. You're going to drop it on the table. You're then going to cut at the pinky break, and then you're going to drop that on the table, and you take all the remaining cards and drop them on the table like that. So again, you swing cut about a third of the cards into the left hand, you swing cut another third, keeping a break between them. You drop the packet in your right hand on the table, take the first packet above the pinky break, drop it on the table, take the remaining cards and drop them on the table. And if you've done that correctly, you should now have the cards retained in whatever order they were in before. So that's pretty much it. I'll run through it one last time in case you missed it. You swing cut a third, you swing cut another third, keeping a break, you drop, third, third. And that is all there is to the false table cut. Alright, this next false cut we're going to learn is one that I've really kind of taught on the channel before, but you didn't really realize it. And this utilizes the double undercut. So I'll leave a link to the double undercut video in the description. But basically, the false cut looks like this. You basically give the cards a couple of fairly standard cuts, but the cards do retain the order I've set them up in beforehand. And again, it looks like this. Alright, this is the tutorial for the in the hands double undercut. So basically, the way this looks from behind is just like that. So not so impressive from behind, but basically the way you do this is you're going to swing cut about half the cards into your left hand, and you're going to bring it beneath the other packet. And what you want to do is you want to place it into a thumb break just like that, where you're basically holding a break between the two packets with your thumb, of course not visible from the front. Okay, so instead of just dropping them and leaving it like that, you want to make sure you retain a break like that. And the best way to do that is to place it on, get a pinky break, and then transition that to your left hand and holding that break with your thumb, just like that. And then all you're going to do is you're going to do a double undercut as we've taught before, where you use your pinky to grab about half the cards from beneath the break, shift them out to the top, and grab the cards at the break, shift it to the top. Okay, so again, if you want to take a look at the double undercut more in depth, I'll leave a link into the video where I talked about that down below. Basically you can just use it as a false cut very simply by swing cutting about half and then doing your double undercut. Alright, so the tabled version of the false double undercut looks like this. You have the cards here, you basically set it on the table and you give the cards a few cuts, and the cards have still retained their order. Alright, this is the tutorial for the tabled version of the double undercut. So it's pretty much the same as the in the hands version. It's just that we're turning the cards lengthwise instead of widthwise, and we're placing them on the table. So they're going to be on the table like this. Now, if you're not familiar with tabled card work and tabled sleight of hand, you will do it pretty much almost always with the cards sitting in more of a horizontal position than in the traditional position like this with the widthwise that you would be used to being a magician. So you place it like this. You're basically going to do the same thing. You're going to you're going to come over here, and this is the grip. You're going to place your two thumbs at the back on the sides and your middle finger and ring finger at the top, kind of holding it there. Again, when I'm just in a resting position, I like to curl my index fingers. It's just my natural thing that I do. So you're going to begin, and I'm going to shift this forward so you can see it better. You're going to begin by stripping out about half the cards from beneath, bringing them around to the front, and coming back like that. So again, you're just stripping out about half the cards from the bottom, bringing them forward and then back. And when you do this, you want to replace them, and you're going to use one of your thumbs to keep a break at the back, and you can hold that with both thumbs when you return. So again, you strip out about half the cards, bring them forward, come back, and grab a break. Again, this break should not be visible from the front, but from the back you can obviously see there's a break there. So, using one of your thumbs, you're going to hold that break. Then you're just going to do a double undercut on the table, where you're going to once again use your right hand to strip out about half the cards from beneath the break, shift them around to the top. and you're going to strip out the cards at the break, shift them to the top. And one way, and to kind of finish the cut, you can make that nice, and just kind of slap it on there. It's a nice sound, nice aesthetic. So that's basically all there is to it. It's basically the exact same as the in the hands version. It's just been turned and put on the table. So you just grab your break, and then you do a tabled double undercut, just like that. Alright, this next false cut is one of my favorite ones. I think it's just really nice. It's kind of a fancy looking one, but it is a nice one. It's a very smooth one. So it basically looks like this. You give the cards a couple of cuts like this, and the cards retain their order. And what I really love about this one is that it is very kind of flourishy looking. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Alright, this is the tutorial for the fancy false cut. So basically it looks like this. Again, from behind it looks just like that. It's a very flourishy cut. It's very fancy looking, hence the title. So this is basically how it's done. So basically you're going to begin by swing cutting about 1/3 of the cards into your left hand. When you replace them, as you come to replace them, you're going to pick up about half of the remaining cards, and you're just going to swing cut it upward like this. You're not going to swing cut it over, you're just going to pick it up, okay? So you should be in this position. Then you're going to come back over, and you're going to use your pinky finger should be free at this point. You're going to use your thumb and your pinky finger to grab hold of the packet that you first swing cut, and you're just going to grab it like that. So you should end in a position that looks something like this. From here, once you replace that packet, you're then going to bring your thumb around top to clamp down the middle packet of the 3 packets and bring it over into your left hand. Then you complete by taking the top swing cut packet, and you're going to place it in that hand, and then you drop the remaining cards just like that. Okay, it very much feels like when you're practicing it and learning it, it very much feels like a cardistry move, just because of all the actions that you have to learn how to do. So you basically swing cut here, you lift up, you grab this one back, you pull out the middle one, you take this one, and then you take this one. And another extra thing that you might notice I do is that after I take the middle packet out, I come back with my thumb to swivel cut this packet here. And basically what a swivel cut is I'll just replace these cards back, is that basically you're just going to hold your thumb at the back, and you use your index finger, your thumb, to pick up a portion of cards. You're going to pivot them by moving this hand forward, and you're going to pivot them around these front fingers until it drops into this hand. And that is all there is to a swivel cut. So I'll leave a link to some more info about the swivel cut down below. But basically, once again, you swing cut 1/3, you replace that back, you take the middle packet, you swivel this packet, and then you drop the remaining cards on top. And that is all there is to the fancy false cut. This is one that you're going to have to really rewind and follow along as best as you can. So for now, I'm going to end by doing this tutorial with a little bit of a slow-mo clip for you to follow along with. Alright, this next one is probably what could be, I would say this is my favorite one of all, because it looks fairly standard. It looks like you're giving the card some very fair cuts. It's a little bit flourishy, but you know, not so much so that it's overwhelmingly like the last one. So it just works out for me. And basically it looks like this. You give the cards a couple of cuts, just like that. And the cards have retained the order. And a little bit more of a flourishy sort of version of it would look like this. You basically take the cards like this, you give them one cut like that, and the cards have retained their order. So let's learn that one. Alright, this is the tutorial for the classy false cut. Basically, the way this one works is that you're going to begin, like with the fancy false cut, by swing cutting about 1/3 of the cards into your left hand, just like that. Then you're going to swing cut about half of the remaining cards over into your other hand, and just like with the false table cut, you're going to make sure to hold a pinky break between the two packets, just like that. Then you're going to come over with this packet, and what you need to do is you need to switch the packet in your right hand for the top for the packet above the pinky break. Basically the way you're going to do this is you're going to basically hold and pinch, and basically pinch and hold this packet in your right hand between your index and thumb only, and you're going to use your ring finger, your pinky finger, and your thumb, because your thumb normally does a lot, to grab this packet here. So basically, if you get in the right position, it should look, if you were to grab the cards in the position you should be holding them, you should have the first packet you cut. If you took away the first packet you cut, the grip, obviously you're doing it at the break like this, but the grip should be looking almost as if you just swing cut this top packet over, okay? So then you're going to bring this whole unit here over. You're going to use your thumb to clamp down and bring this packet over. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. A little bit of a brain fart, but basically you just grab that back, and you don't hold a break this time because these cards are now in a order. And then you bring these cards that are now the new cards in your right hand back over, but you're going to hold a pinky break like that. I lied. Sorry, I lied earlier. If you were following along with me, I would like to apologize. When you switch the packets, you do actually have to hold another break. I lied earlier. I wasn't paying attention, but yes, you hold another break after you. So once again, I'll just run back to the beginning of the tutorial so you can see that once more. You swing cut the third. You swing cut another half, holding a break. You switch the two packets, continuously holding a break. Then you drop this on top without holding a break, and you're going to be finished by doing a double undercut. Or, if you want to add a little bit of spice to it, sorry, I was going for a different one, but if you want to add a little bit of spice to your false cut, you can end by grabbing your thumb break, and rather than doing a double undercut, you can do a swivel cut. And that's what I like to do because I think it just adds a little bit of spice to an already great false cut. So that's pretty much it. Remember, do not follow my original instructions. You swing cut a third, swing cut another third holding a break, switch two packets, still holding a break, drop on top, don't hold a break, but keep that original break, and then you do a double undercut or a swivel cut. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and in my next video I will be covering some of my favorite false shuffles rather than false cuts. And then after that we will learn about deck switches, and then we'll get into some tricks we can do using pre-ordered decks. Which, by the way, if you don't know what's going on right now, I'm beginning to work on something on my channel where we're going to do several videos where we're going to start building up a foundation in the idea of using a stacked deck, or a deck that has been ordered before the trick begins. So in this video and the next several videos, we're going to be covering a whole bunch of stuff doing that. So I'm pretty excited for it. I think my plan is right now to kind of continue this whole little series for the duration of the summer, which is pretty exciting. I might take a break or two with one or two videos just to do something extra. But yeah, if you want to go back and watch the first video of this little series, I'll leave a link up on screen and in the description box down below to my video talking about the size 7 stack, which is going to be really helpful when we get into the tricks, because that is the stack I'll be using for our first tricks, at least. So, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.